Hey folks, it's Ardwulf, and welcome to Traveler Tuesday. Today we're going to get caught up a little bit on Mongoose Traveler 2nd Edition with a product I picked up from Noble Knight when we drove up there a couple of weeks ago. By the time you see this, watch the counter clipping show if you want to hear all about it, plus the other videos that came out of that trip. This is the original 2300 AD setting from Game Designer's Workshop, which has been made available for the last two editions of Mongoose Traveler. The original game used a different system that was derived from Frank Chadwick's Twilight 2000 system instead. But I feel like its natural home is in fact in Traveler. So now we have the 2nd edition. I had the Mongoose Traveler 1st edition version of 2300. I have never looked at the inside of this box set. So let's open her up and see what we get. Of course, we have... So this is a different setting than the official Traveler, the regular official Traveler universe. It's kind of a harder sci-fi and nearer future setting. The official Traveler universe is set several thousand years in the future. This is set now less than 300 years in the future. And it's more exploration forward. Space travel works a bit differently. It's a pretty cool setting that I'm not sure was really successful for Game Designer's Workshop. So thick box, courtesy of Studio 2, presumably. We get a map, which I kind of didn't expect, but I kind of know what it is. Those of us who remember the original 2300 AD, or if you like Traveler 2300, will remember this amazing Near Stars map that featured in that. And this is enormous. Holy cow. Okay, I'm not even going to be able to fit this whole thing on the table. So, pretty cool. Let's see if we can make this work here. I might have to do some fixing of this in post because this map is just gigantic. All right, so Sol right here, and then you've got the various Star Warp tracks that lead to various other places. This is in 3D, and I will also observe that since the original publication of Traveler 2300 in the 80s, a lot of new stellar objects have been discovered by astronomers in this vicinity. The 2300 AD map, however, has not been updated because the exact positioning of all these stars and systems and brown dwarfs and whatever is very important to the way that interstellar travel works in this setting. It looks like they're color-coded too, where we've got maybe this looks like the Chinese arm. This kind of looks like the American arm with maybe some Australians. This might be the French arm. There's a Manchurian arm up here. Sung Space, they're one of the alien races. The aliens in this are really cool. This is going to be the French arm. It's by far the largest. So in the 2300 AD setting, Earth is still balkanized, and the most powerful individual state is the new French Empire. There's kind of a lot of story going into that, which I am not prepared to detail in this video, because frankly, I'm not as familiar with this as I am with the official Traveler universe. So we get three pretty fat books here. Characters and Equipment, The Worlds of 2300 AD, and Book 3, Vehicles and Spacecraft. And since publishing the box set, which was like a year or two ago at this point, Mongoose has done some additional support for this as well. So, 2300 original writers and contributors include Mark Miller, but also Lauren Wiseman, John Harshman, Frank Chadwick, Daryl Haney, Winston Hamilton, Tony Svalenka, Scott Renner, Doug Poe, David McDonald, Wayne Roth, and Paul Banner, which is kind of all the principals at Game Designer's Workshop. All right, so introduction. Let's see here. 2300 AD and the Third Imperium, which is okay. So this just talks about how it's a separate setting and a bit harder sci-fi feel to it. Companion books. There are 3 companion books. These are the additional supplements that they've done. Traveler Creation. There might be some kind of minor modifications to this. There absolutely is. Homeworld Gravity is not something from regular Traveler. And frankly, I could see putting that in regular Traveler. But how does that tie into the UWPs? That's the question. You'd have to kind of work that out. That might be in here. Spacer Travelers, Languages, Skills. Why are there... Okay, so these are some replacement skills. So you don't have astrogation. Well, astrogation works differently. Jump Drive Engineer is replaced with Stutter Warp Engineer, and that all goes down. So Stutter Warp is a pretty interesting different way to handle FTL. The Drifter, here's a different configuration for the Drifter career. Some skill packages specific to this setting. Cybernetics and DNA modification. So the cyberpunk craze kind of hit during the lifetime of the original 2300 AD, and it was kind of backfitted into this setting, mostly on Earth. Earth was a pretty cyberpunk setting, but the different colonies were less so to various extents. DNA modification, that's might even be new. DNAMs. What is a DNAM? Are these the modified humans? Looks like they are. And we've got a whole bunch of different packages for this. Symbionts, okay. Tools of the trade. Wilderness exploration and survival gear. All kinds of stuff here. So a lot of the big chunk of this book is equipment, computers, industrial equipment, personal power, explosives, valuable in any RPG, pentapod equipment. So we actually get equipment for the aliens too. That's cool. Melee weapons, firearms. Going to be a bunch of these. Civilian weapons, shotguns, tons and tons and tons of equipment in here. It is not my goal to show you all of the different equipment, so I'm blitzing through the rest of this book, to be honest. Yeah, so it looks like there's some minor modifications made to character creation and skills from regular Mongoose Traveler second edition. The rest of this book is largely equipment. Here's an appendix, the core worlds. So core is pretty much Sol and Alpha Centauri, and everything else is a colony. And we've got, looks like some kind of map here too. Interesting. Okay. Do we get the UWPs at all? Because the original 2300 AD didn't use that, and it kind of looks like this ignores it as well. But there's not like 11,000 worlds in the major state here either. Here's the nations of Earth. That's interesting. Okay. There's an index, which does not look all that great. Book 2, The Worlds of 2300 AD. So here we have the Lost Years. So this is the history of the setting that is actually the future of the Twilight 2000 setting, actually. You don't have to play it that way, but you can, and it is built that way. So we start to get some info on the aliens here. Here's some stuff on the pentapods. Here's the core, which again is Earth and Alpha Centauri. Here's the Earth's nations. Looks like somehow Canada and the U.S. are still independent, and somehow Texas is independent as well. But remember, there was a big nuclear war here, too, so that threw things into disarray. Here's the small version of this giant map. Here's Terrain, which is the primary colonized world of Alpha Centauri. It doesn't have nearly as much population, though. Worlds of the Frontier. Universal Planetary Profile. Okay, so this is where we get this. We do get Universal Planetary Profile, and it is pretty much the same format. It's kind of presented a little bit differently, but it's pretty much the same format as it is in regular Traveler, any version of Traveler for the most part. You get an actual distance equation, which has a square root in it. You don't have to use this, though. Who cares? Universal Colony Profile. So that's new. There are tiers of colonies. Okay, here's the Universal Colony Profile, which is separate from the UPP, maybe? I'm going to need to look at this more carefully. There might be some things. I would not have any real compunction about running Traveler in this setting. That's not really a problem. Here's the American arm. We've got King, which is 25 light years away. What star is it orbiting is what I'm looking for. Primary name, DM plus 23312 K7V. Okay. So it does tell you that, and you'll be able to find that stuff on the map. It's Botany Bay. We've got a lot of world maps here, which is pretty cool. Here's the French arm, which is the largest of the arm, but also in some ways the most troubled, because that's where the Kafirs have been encountered. We get a lot of world information in here. It's pretty high level, as you can see. So Hawkbod here has like 2 large paragraphs. Aurora, which, as I recall, is one of the early targets for the Kafirs. Manchurian arm, Cold Mountain, which is presumably cold. Tons of maps. I like the maps a lot. I'm going to need to get this in PDF, though. I believe Mongoose will be happy to send you the PDFs if you bought it somewhere else. I think I have gotten them to do that before. I think. Here's a cool, what looks like a tidally locked world. That's pretty cool. Organizations, some of which have spawned some adventures. Terrorist groups, interesting. Children of Mao, awesome. British Pathfinders, or a government military organization. The French Foreign Legion still around, of course. The United States Space Force. This does not look like a grounded dress uniform to me. This I can live with. This I can live with. This looks very like more of a Third Imperium type of uniform. Aliens and animals. Here's where we're going to talk about the really well-developed alien races in 2300 setting. Here's the Eber. Here's the pentapods. These are the pentapods. These are the Sung. The Zhang, who look like beetles. And these are the Kafirs, which they've decided to spell differently than they were originally spelled, I noticed. These are a very interesting alien race. Here's the Arbors. Who the hell are these guys? I've never heard of these guys. Maybe these guys were in a supplement for the original game. Animals of the Frontier. You've got some traits for animals, hostile environments. And of course, the advantage of this being used with the Traveler system as opposed to the original system is there's a whole lot more resources available for Traveler than for the original 2300 AD system. We got some stock NPCs here and stat blocks for Neos and domesticated animals and proto-intelligences. Here's some referee resources. Interesting. Okay. And here's a 2300 AD calendar. It's our calendar. I'm not sure why we needed a special calendar in here. Okay. The books are nice. This one's 120 pages. The first one is a little less than that, 104 pages. And the third book, Vehicles and Spacecraft, I'm going to have one relatively minor thing to whine about at the end of the video here. Military and civilian vehicles. This is book 3, Vehicles and Spacecraft. So we've got ground vehicles, including everything from like little moped things to presumably big trucks. Civilian aircraft, including, this is an air car. There's no grav tech in this setting, as I recall. So no artificial gravity. Military ground vehicles, including hover tanks, military aircraft. As you can see, we're still using helicopters. Combat walkers. I don't remember that from the original setting. I've never actually played or run in this setting. Vehicle options. So this looks intriguing. A lot of this could cross over back to Traveler, frankly. Starships. Also, 2300 AD is very different from Traveler in this important respect. Starships are like big government things that governments and big corporations build. A bunch of rando tramp traders farting around in a Firefly type of thing, which is very at home in the regular Traveler universe, does not really make any sense here. So you could easily have an entire campaign just set on a single one of these planets, to be honest about it. So a lot on starships and vehicles. Weapons and targeting system. Here's small craft. And you can see these are way more sort of contemporary than the stuff we typically see in the rest of the Traveler line. Here's a rocket that looks a lot like a rocket. We're still using rockets here. There is a beanstalk, I believe, on Earth. And there might be one on Alpha Centauri as well. Or a space elevator, if you like. Here's some fighters. Interesting. Interesting. Long boat. Here's a commercial passenger space plane. Beanstalk climber on Earth's beanstalk. There was a supplement for the original game called something like At the Beanstalk's Base or something like that, which was sort of one of the very cyberpunky things because it's set on Earth. Anjou, cargo vessels. So what's at the end here? Another perfunctory, algorithmically generated index. So this is the update. I've got the Mongoose Traveler first edition version of 2300 AD, although none of the support products that they did. Now here's the thing I'm going to whine about. Let's put the books in. In a lot of these Cubicle 2 boxes, there's like a ribbon in here so you can easily retrieve the materials from the box. There's no ribbon on this one, which means that you're either going to end up bending the box to get the books out, or you're going to end up doing what I'm about to do, which is turning it upside down and letting the books fall out on their own. I'm not crazy about that. I'm not writing a letter to Congress about it either, but it's maybe less optimal than I would like. I would have preferred just a little bit of extra breathing room in the box, so this wasn't necessary. But again, it's not that big of a deal. If I were going to run with this setting, I would more or less, other than this map, I would probably use the digital materials as the basis for doing that. So this has been a quick flip through of the newish, say 2021 is the date given on here, so maybe this is older than I thought it was, and I have dragged my feet even longer than I thought I had to pick up the new 2300 AD set from Mongoose Publishing for Mongoose Traveler 2nd Edition. Happy to see this classic sci-fi RPG setting still around in 2024.
Massive thanks to the patrons of Ardwulf's Lair, whose support and encouragement make what we do at Ardwulf's Lair possible. Thank you, patrons. Links to help support the channel are in the video description, so check out the Patreon, the Ko-Fi, and the merch store where you can get snazzy Ardwulf's Lair t-shirts, drinking vessels, and other cool swag. There is also an affiliate link for Noble Knight Games in the video description. If you buy stuff through that affiliate link, it helps to support the channel with Noble Knight store credit. Thank you, Noble Knight. Until next time, thanks for watching, and happy gaming.